All right, everyone. Good to see you tonight. This is Dr. Ellithorpe. We're here with Tustin Longevity Center. This is Southern California on March 10th, 2026. We do this every Tuesday from 6 p.m. to 7 p.m. We call this Ask the Doctor Anything. It's a opportunity for us to make available to our patients, their family, and friends a way to ask questions about functional medicine. We do a general practice here approach first with the preventive integrative functional methodology. We don't just jump right into trying to make prescriptions unless it's medically necessary. So we are a group of healthcare providers that are trying to educate our patients, build up their natural immune systems, or restore their health. And using functional methodologies, we've been here about 25 years now, and I've been doing this about 45 years. And we are not here trying to treat over the video. This is just general impression and how we look at things. We want you to be seen by your physician, or if we are your physician, to make medical questions that you need to have addressed through the proper ways of contacting the office and either following up and making an appointment. And then we'll just give our general themes to questions as they come in. We have live questions here in the chat. I see some questions already starting up. And then we get in email questions. You can get on the email list and type in a question that I'll be going over. If you go to our TLC website, it's called tlcdoctors.com, tlcdoctors.com. And there you can get on our newsletter. Then we will notify you every week for each of these upcoming Ask the Doctor Anything YouTubes. And there will be a link there. You can type in a certain number of characters, your question, and then I'll hopefully get this. I just got these handed to me. So I have just finished work and I didn't have any time to pre-look these over. And I'll do my best at trying to answer all these questions. We normally start with live questions first, so we'll go to the ones that are starting to show up here. One is from Tara. Tara says, "Hi, Dr. Rita. Two quick questions. Was wondering what you would recommend for Dermadex mites and also BV. I assume that's bacterial vaginosis." Well, there are several things that are done as a standard of care. If you have these issues, there's topical baths that you can use, promethine, ivermectin, topical, metronidazole, I think topically as well. So you would have to be seen by the doctor to see, that they agree that you should take that. But these are over-the-counter treatments for mites that can get into the hair or eyelashes and things like that. One thing that's usually very effective is if you shower as a routine with Selsun Blue shampoo. Selsun Blue is selenium 1 to 2%, and it's on all the stores shampoos. Selsun Blue is SCLSUN blue, and 1 or 2%, and that's all I've used for decades. And you wash in that, and it's a natural antiviral, antifungal, and has antibacterial benefits. Another thing is natural. You could use Argentine silver spray. You could spray your eyelids with this if the mites are bothering your eyelids. You could also use it as a vaginal wash. I would never use tampons or put anything there. I would only use external things like Kotex pads for the panties that is used, nothing intravaginally. And if those simple things are not helping you, then I would see your doctor, especially if you want uh, promethane. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that well. That is a standard scabies type and mites treatment. You have to get that by prescription. There may be a low concentration over the counter. This is a one-time application, and then you uh, wash it off after a certain period of time. We don't normally see that here, so I can't recall without having a computer. I don't have another one here to check the ranges, but um, promethane, ivermectin topically, and uh, what's the other one? Ivermectin. Can't think of the other one. I think I just said it. But anyway, that's the direction I would go. Um, I don't believe in anything intravaginally at all. I don't like even the applicator sticks for applying vaginal medicines. I don't. I tell all my patients if that's needed to use their own uh, hand and finger rather than these potentially plastic scratching, irritating things. So nothing intravaginal. And then you'll have to have a pelvic exam and find out what's going on there. Chronic vaginoses, if that's going on, it makes me think, what is your blood sugar level? Why would something be chronically irritating you? You're supposed to have enough secretions of the mucus to constantly be shedding and cleansing the surface of the vulva and the vaginal area. If you're perimenopausal or menopausal, the mucus secretions diminish and you get drier, and then you can get more irritated. That's especially when any foreign object intravaginally becomes very traumatic and irritating. So it depends on your age, whether you're on hormones. I like giving natural hormone replacement to women, especially perimenopausally and postmenopausally, so you don't develop these problems and you'll have much better urethral health and less urinary tract infections, better vaginal health, more mucus production that's healthy to help self clean, and won't have any odors. So that's about what I can say there. Deborah said, I am 58 and in great health, 108 pounds. I've been on hormone replacement therapy for 5 years. 100 milligrams progesterone and a 0.025 estradiol patch. And I was told, I guess you had some biopsy that you had ductal carcinoma in situ, DCIS, low risk. You were told a lumpectomy and to stop hormones. What are your thoughts? Well, you have to follow the advice of your doctors there, your oncologist, surgeon. I don't know what your risk factors are. If your fasting blood sugar is higher than 85, if your fasting insulin is higher than 4, if your fasting hemoglobin A1C is higher than 5.2, and if your triglycerides are higher than, say, 50 to 75, if you're not exercising with weightlifting and some aerobic alternating days, if you're eating past 5:30, 5 o'clock, if you're not getting sunshine, if your vitamin D isn't around 80 or higher, these are areas that would make me be concerned for your immune function. The other thing is pre-diabetes. They say like 93% of all Americans have hurt themselves since their childhood with junk food and sodas and pizzas and ice cream and chips and staying up so late, that the metabolic factors that I just indicated to you, including hip to waist ratio and blood pressure, these kind of body mass indices and those labs I mentioned, about 93% of all Americans are abnormal in this area, uh, or at least have two or three of those several I just listed. And we have found that blood sugar and clogging up, so to say, tiny capillaries to the blood cells chokes the nutrition and waste removal of cells, and they become hypoxic when they don't get their oxygen, and the sugar is higher than average and sticky. And very often Americans don't drink enough water. We've chlorinated the water, we fluorinate the water, we create all this oxidative stress. So it's putting cell metabolism and immune function at a stress from both sides. Poor nutrition, too much sugar, high insulin levels, poor circulation, microcirculation, and then you have the toxins on top of it. Putting all that together, it creates for the environment surrounding the cell to morph into a angry cell trying to survive, which can turn into cancer. So the book out there on this for the past 15 years, I think, is Dr. Seyfried's book. Cancer is a mitochondrial. That's the mitochondria, the battery of the cell, engine of the cell. Cancer is a mitochondrial disease, metabolic disease. Cancer is a mitochondrial metabolic disease. So I can't answer you just right off about DCIS. Many people argue that that is not a true cancer in the sense that it's in situ. It means it's all in one little spot. And so if it's in one little spot and they do a lumpectomy, they'll probably do at least a single lymph node biopsy to make sure it hasn't spread anywhere else. Then they would say that you are resolved. I don't think hormones are the cause of cancer. We have rather all these oxidative stressors going on, and women have had hormones for 6,000 years since we were created by God. So there is a wonderful video on YouTube called FDA Expert Panel on Menopause. That was August of 2025. So it's an FDA expert panel on menopause and hormone replacement therapy, and they bring up questions like this. And I think you'll see the discussion of these specialists in gynecology and oncology, women's health, are going to be clearly telling you, you cannot say like a knee-jerk reaction, hormones cause cancer. They don't. You can make an argument that progesterone, if anything, is protective from the estrogen growth promotion, which estrogen is a hormone that promotes the development of the uterine lining. It helps develop the breast cells in the glands, the ducts of the breast. It helps your skin, your collagen, your elastin. So it is a generalized human growth hormone, and we have many growth promoting signals in our body all over. Estrogen is one of them. So the argument that estrogen is causative just because they'll take a biopsy of a breast tissue and they'll say estrogen receptor positive and progesterone receptor positive, HER2 receptor negative or positive, whatever they're going to say. But regarding estrogen and progesterone, all breasts are estrogen and progesterone positive. That's a normal thing. And so the less aggressive a cancer, the more benign it appears, even though it fits some pathology definition of a malignant cell change. If it is still responding appropriately to estrogen and progesterone, they say they're positive. But that's a very good sign because it means it's not that devolved into an angry malignancy. So all breasts have these receptors, estrogen and progesterone. Mine are right now estrogen receptor and progesterone receptor positive if you did a biopsy on me. So we can't say that lab fact is proof that it is causative. What we can say is we can use it as a handle, a management tool, and we can maybe use estrogen blockers, which they use like tamoxifen and the like, to block signals that would promote growth of any cell that has that estrogen receptor. But it doesn't mean that it's curative or that the estrogen itself was causative, because insulin receptors are 10 times more positive on cancer cells, and cancer cells need to metabolize a lot more sugar, 100 times more than a healthy cell, so they have a lot more insulin receptors. Are you going to say we're going to block insulin and make everyone diabetic, and kill them through blocking insulin? You can't do that. There's a lack of logic here, a lack of critical thinking, and I suppose that's why we have had such limited success with breast cancers. I think prevention is much better. I would look into those factors such as your insulin, your hemoglobin A1C, your triglycerides, your fasting blood sugar, how much you're weightlifting and walking. Uh, do you get sunshine, get some grounding? Do you hydrate well enough? Are you on a low carb diet? Are you getting enough healthy proteins? What is your blood type? Do you need digestive enzymes? Are you old enough for digestive enzymes? Because even if you're blood type A, that always requires digestive enzymes. Other blood types, when you get older, do require, like I'm a B type blood, I need digestive enzymes because I'm going to be 73 here. So my thoughts on this is watch that video, the FDA expert panel on menopause from August 2025, and you'll see it is inappropriate or your doctor is not informed or up to date to say estrogen is causative, and that there's no reason to necessarily say stop certainly your progesterone or that patch, the 0.025. Get your estradiol level, see what they are. And then I have many patients who have had breast cancer and we're right back on our hormone replacement therapy, and they've done very well for years and years and years. We're not talking months. I've been here 25 years almost, and I would say many, if not most, go back on their hormones. So there are many things hormones do for us. They build your bones, they help your sleep, they help your memory, they help your skin organ to stay intact and thick, so it doesn't get so thin and frail and bruised so easily. It helps your cardiovascular system. Estradiol helps your immune system. I mean, there are, I think, maybe 400 known identified biochemical things that estradiol does for the human body in repairing and healing it. So no, you just don't say in blanket that it's wrong. I think a similar comment could be made about testosterone and prostate cancer. I don't think they can necessarily do a knee-jerk thing and say it's causative or absolutely forbidden if you had prostate cancer. I've had a lot of men and urologists, oncologists that have used some testosterone on their post prostate cancer patients. So the field is growing and learning new things. I'm not saying it applies to everyone, but a ductal carcinoma in situ is so small and limited. Find a good functional doctor, watch that video, and there's a good book called Estrogen Matters. And on that book, written by, what's that guy's name? His name is Bluming, Bluming, Avrum, Avrum, Bluming, Bluming. And then he wrote an article. This article was published, when when was this published? In Cancer Journal 2022. Uh, and the title is Hormone Replacement Therapy After Breast Cancer. It is time. So he published this and he did a retrospective analysis of breast cancer and hormone replacement therapy all the way back to the 1980s. And just to jump to the end of the line here, it's basically saying that it is time for us to consider natural hormone replacement therapy, well monitored. And I always give it with systemic enzymes on an empty stomach. But this will say they can't say that it's causative and that it's going to promote a recurrence or promote increased death, and neither of those were true over the past 40 some years. So that'll be a good article to read on that too. All right. Hopefully that helps you. And the next one is from Tammy. Hi, Dr. E. My husband, John, is a patient of yours. Okay. He is a faithful carnivore diet participant. He is wondering if sushi, sashimi, no rice is carnivore friendly. Yes, it is. It is. I'm just so cautious about parasites in raw fish that it would concern me. Okay. But my son enjoys a lot of that too. So what can I say? Mankind has been around for thousands of years, and they have seemingly done well. But that sushi is just fine. All right, let's go to some of these email questions. Susanna says, what would you suggest for treating severe osteoporosis, such as exercise, etc.? Thanks. Well, everything that builds a bone, that means estradiol, progesterone, testosterone for your muscles, weight-bearing exercises, which means weightlifting in the gym, on the machines. I don't believe in free weights unless you're a professional weightlifter or being trained or spotted by someone who can watch your posture and help catch something if you weaken and start dropping a weight. So be on the machines. That's what I do 3 times a week for an hour. I'm over at Crunch on the machines. And that strong, heavy weight resistance and tension is putting tension on the bone and talking to the bone. You can say through piezometric, which is a term about a kind of electrical stimuli when I contract and relax my muscles through the tendon all the way to the lining of the periosteum over the whole bone, that talks to the bone that I'm using it. I need it, and it repairs itself. Then another thing is to get your vitamin D levels up to about 100 microgram or international units, and have that level checked twice a year. So we would certainly be talking about a vitamin D3 10,000, maybe even 20,000. To achieve that level, you should eat it with food because it's a fat-soluble vitamin, and then have your level checked within 8 weeks, no longer than 12 weeks. Checking your liver enzymes. If there's too much fat-soluble vitamin in the body, very often you'll start seeing some liver enzymes go up on the lab on the chemistry comprehensive panel. So that is when we take that and we adjust it and lower the dose. But to get you built up, I'd probably start somewhere between 10,000 and 20,000 every day. I've seen levels of, I think the highest I ever saw was 60,000 units used every single day for years. 60,000. So it's quite safe, but you have to be checked and check your calcium levels and your liver enzymes within about 8 to 12 weeks of doing that to check the level. Unless you have any known liver disease, you got to let your doctor know, or they have to find out. The next thing is estradiol. I would want to give estradiol which is very important in helping to build bones along with progesterone. I usually like progesterone cyclic. Uh, and then I like a rich protein diet, low carb, because the carbohydrates are acidic and inflammatory. Inflammation promotes demineralization and uh, uh, breakdown of the body in general, not to mention microclots and stickiness to the proteins in the body. Uh, I would recommend drinking plenty of water, alkalized water, excuse me, electrically structured water is the correct way to say it today. So there's a video called uh, The Electrical Structure of Water, Dr. Pollack, Pollack. First name Gerald Pollack, Pollack, PhD. He's has done a wonderful job on showing how important structured water is to preserving the cell walls of all your body, not to mention your bones. So, getting a little rebounder is another very healthy thing with a bar on it. So when it's a little trampoline, maybe 4 feet in diameter, and then you kind of bounce on this for 5 minutes a day, twice a day, and that also puts some nice tension on your tendons from the muscles to the bone periosteum. It's very good for the lymphatic. And if you drink water, especially electrically structured water, you're going to help get rid of any unnecessary inflammation and have a more proper um, intracellular as well as extracellular water content and protection of the cell membrane. Um, I think other than that, I would use a multi-mineral. I would never use isolated calcium supplementation. I would use a amino acid chelated multi-mineral. We have TLC multi-mineral, and we designed this just for this purpose, so that it would have the molybdenum, the uh, calcium, the magnesium, the boron, all these wonderful minerals in it that are very important in bone building. Don't eat late at night. I would stop eating after 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon because any food in your stomach at 9 o'clock at night is going to shut off growth repair hormones, and you'll miss some wonderful healing time at night. Those are some of the areas. So find a good functional doctor, and uh, Susanna, hopefully that will be a big help to you. Another live one has come in. Deborah has said, thank you. God bless. I was a patient at Tustin, now in Las Vegas, and miss you folks. Oh, well, I'm sorry, Deborah. We miss you. Okay. And yes to all of your questions. I eat organic. I work out daily. Weight cycling, walking, hormone replacement therapy is a blessing. Yes, it is. And which question was I answering? Oh, so you're the one that had that little ductal carcinoma in situ? Is that it? Yeah, DCIS. So that's how I would look at that. Again, I'm not there. I have given you my thoughts, but do follow your doctor's advice and prayerfully consider what you're going to do about that. All right. The next question is from Barbara. Barbara says, hello. I started estrogen and progesterone about 8 months ago. Then started to start around in October, just last week. I had a menstrual cycle. I'm 62, and I understand this is not unusual. Correct. I'm going to be 73, and I have a menstrual cycle every month, most every month. Sometimes I'll miss. Can you help me understand what to expect when and if I need to be concerned, or should I be celebrating? I know that you have shared that this is possible. Well, Barbara, you should be working with your doctor who is prescribing your hormones. You should have your hormone levels checked at least twice a year, every 6 months. If you're on cyclical progesterone, just like when a younger girl naturally will ovulate, although more young girls today don't ovulate cyclically because they're under such stress. The stress cortisol blocks follicle stimulating hormone in the pituitary hypothalamic axis, and it won't stimulate ovulation. So these poor young girls are always estrogen dominant, and that's going to lead to problems. But back to us older ladies on hormone replacement. Um, that's why I only take progesterone like God made us to use progesterone 2 weeks out of a month. And I just use it the 1st through the 15th of the month because that would be as if I ovulated in this half of the month. And that's how I do it every month of the year, the 1st through the 15th, the 1st through the 15th, the next month, and so on. But I use my estradiol to my face, all over my eyelids and everything, to help avoid the aging of, uh, just the wrinkling of the skin is what I'm trying to say with my estradiol cream. And that way, my uterus is a normal uterus, even though it's old at almost 73, and it'll build up a little bit of a lining from the estradiol. But when I start taking the progesterone, somewhere around day 10 being on it, usually around the 10th, I begin to start having a very light menstrual cycle for a few days, and that cleans it out. So this is the right time, and it is the right cycling, and it is what we expect because we're giving hormones cyclically with progesterone and continuous with estradiol to the face. So then I'm not worried. I'm not going to go to a gynecologist. I'm not going to get a pelvic exam and say, hey, I'm at almost 73 and I'm menstruating. No, I know because I'm giving myself these hormones and I want to menstruate. No, there isn't bad PMS. No, there isn't bad cramping or anything like that because I take enzymes. I use systemic enzymes, and that helps to disinflame. And young girls are full of enzymes. We older girls don't make those enzymes, nor our digestive enzymes for that matter. And when you supply them, then the inflammation during that little time when you're having shedding, which is the lining breaking down, and that's inflammatory. So it helps get that done and through. And then I make sure I drink my water every day, close to 96 ounces a day. And now you know how much I weigh, because if you are supposed to uh, drink half your weight in ounces every day, then you know about what I weigh. So yeah, I would say that um, if you're concerned about, cycling and all, you have to get a doctor who is familiar with this. And I don't like biased, which is the two types of estradiol, and I don't like triest, which is the three types of estrogen that a woman makes, because the only one that is really functional is estradiol. Estrone is more of a dimer, and that's a biochemistry term of like a handedness, the right hand here, and here's the left hand. Uh, Estradiol, estrone, estradiol, estrone, they're so close, they almost are in the same form. So I don't fool around making my patient think that I'm doing them something fancy by putting two types in there. I'm going to keep it just the one type and monitor the one thing I'm giving, and I'm more accurate that way. So let's see. So that was Barbara's question here. And do I need to be concerned or celebrating? I would celebrate. You're working normally, and you're going to have less wrinkles. You're going to have a better memory. You're going to have better hair. You're going to have better nails. You have better skin. You're going to have better heart. You're going to have a better immune system. You'll probably have better bowel movements. You'll have more stable emotional temperament. I mean, the stamina and the energy, vitality, your libido, your vaginal lubrication will go up. You'll probably have less urinary tract infections. It just goes on and on and on. I mean, God isn't foolish in his construction of the human being and the human woman. The estradiol is very, very important. And there you go. So, but work with them and talk about it. And if you want to do anything, you can get a transvaginal pelvic ultrasound, and they can look at the thickness of the lining of your uterus. And you have to remember, these doctors are just not thinking, and they're very slowly being forced to have to go back to their own studying because so many of us women have been going back on hormones. Now you're going to see a woman in her 60s and her 70s on hormones, and you're going to do a pelvic ultrasound. You can't expect the uterus to look like a 60, 70, 80-year-old uterus all shriveled up and the lining so thin. You're going to see a woman with a more normal uterus with the endometrial lining more like a younger woman. And so, by definition, from 50 years ago, the old pathologist said, if you're postmenopausal, a normal thickness of the lining of the uterus implied without hormones, because you're postmenopausal, is going to be 5 millimeters thick. Well, I'm telling you, if you're having a little menstrual cycle, you're probably at 7 millimeters to, 1 centimeter, 10 millimeters at least. And then that'll drop back down to 5 or 6 millimeters after the little menstrual cycle, and it'll gradually build up to 7 to 10 millimeters. So you see, we have to actually think if we're going to be a doctor. We have to actually have critical thinking about what's going on and what those old rules were based on women who would never have been on hormones back in the 50s, 60s, 70s. But now most women are. So, yeah, talk with your doctor, your gynecologist, read the book Estrogen Matters, and talk about cycled progesterone versus continuous progesterone, because when the ovulation ended, that was the signal to clean the uterus out a little bit and have a cycle that was natural. All right. Let's see. We have another live question that was Chris. Okay. She says, I just accidentally found you, just a former patient of yours. I want to know more about progesterone, etc., hormones. If my mother had breast cancer from taking hormones, I don't think your mother had breast cancer from taking hormones because there is no definitive causation between hormones and producing cancer. There is an association because all breasts have progesterone and estradiol receptors, and they use that as a handle in some of their methodology to try and stop cell cycling. All cells are turning over all the time, but that doesn't mean it's causative. My sister died of breast cancer. My other sister died of lung cancer. And so I'm on hormones, and my other surviving sister is on hormones, and we've been on our hormones for decades and decades. My living sister is drinking her water, not eating late, very low carb. She is taking her enzymes. She is also blood type A and uses her digestive enzyme when she eats food as well. She is on Juice Plus. She's on her vitamin D. She takes the TLC multimineral that has selenium in it, another anti-cancer feature. I think she's on quercetin, another anti-cancer feature. I think she's on the TLC metabolic formula that has berberine in it, another anti-cancer natural herb. She maintains her weight. She exercises regularly. She gets a good night's sleep, has a healthy routine to get sunlight, even though she lives in northern Illinois. So my sister, even though our sister had breast cancer and the other one died of lung cancer, She goes on and has almost near perfect lab, and she's older than me. I think she's going to be 76. She has near perfect labs every time. Her insulin is like 4 or less. Her blood sugar is like 75 or less. Her triglycerides are 50. Her hemoglobin A1C is 5.2 or less. I mean, she is doing all that, keeps her vitamin D up to 80 international international units, milligrams per deciliter. And I just know that if you listen to the FDA expert panel on menopause, August 2025, you'll see that they're going to all admit they were falsely trained to think hormones are causative of cancer. So no, I don't. I don't take worry about hormones. I think they're helpful for all your immune health as well. And then Chris also asks, thank you. Do you take medical? Yes, we have Medicare and so forth. We do all that. I don't know that you could immediately see me. You could see one of my physician assistants, and they're the room right next to me. We're like a family here. And if there's any questions, we can all talk together. We all have this every week. We can communicate this way too. But again, work with your doctor. Let them find out about all your risk factors. Improve your whole lifestyle and get in the gym and lift weights and don't eat late and eat a high protein diet. That's probably some of the best keys right there. The next question is from Ariel. Ariel says, I used to do fasting with lots of psyllium and herbs, which often led to membranes full of worms being expelled in colonics after about a week. What really clears parasites? Someone said they hide in sacks. Do you have a protocol for clearing them? Thank you. Ariel, our whole gastrointestinal system, in fact, our skin, our eyes, our lips, everywhere, our sinuses, we are teeming with life, bacteria, gram positive, gram negative. We have all these things on our skin, our trillions of bacteria in our gut, maybe as much as 100,000 different or more varieties. I think we are being marketed to by uninformed people, and everyone's looking at their poop now. And if they see anything like, yes, there's pinworms and it goes around often in a classroom, and the little kids will start having an itchy anus, and the flashlight, the parents see a little white pinworm there, and you get prescribed from your pediatrician an anti-wormer thing, and then it's over with. And so that's history. I've been through this 45 years now with children, caring for, delivering babies and all that. But to think that you are being invaded by parasites and that you have to actively do colonics, I don't buy it. And I'm a very friendly, alternative functional doctor. I've been doing this all my medical life. My father was a food research scientist. No, what you need to do is find a good functional doctor, get a complete digestive stool analysis, and it is the most thorough, advanced. In fact, it is the lab study that opened up the standard of care gastroenterologist's eyes, that all these decades we functional doctors have been doing it right. Now everyone's talking about the biome. Not everyone's talking about the stool quality and digestion and its immune impact on the body and leaky gut and food allergies. That all came from us, which means me. I've been doing it for 4 decades. So I have seen so much poop and poop studies. I don't see this wild, you must get a parasite cleanse. No, 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 no. No, there is not any one thing you have to do but live healthy. Eat a low carb diet, exercise, drink your water, do not eat late, do your weightlifting, high protein diet, some tailored nutraceuticals because the food production and the farming is so raping of the field. So we do need the mineral, we need a methylated B, we need the D, we need probably digestive enzymes. All of us after 65, at least some digestive enzymes. We need systemic enzymes on an empty stomach for anti-inflammation, hormone replacement as we age, and a good night's sleep, good sunshine, grounding with our bare feet on the wet grass in the morning for 3 minutes. We need healthy routine lifestyles, and we need, peace. Uh, but if you want to know about your poop, you get a complete digestive stool analysis and stop chasing these tales of you need this cleanse or that cleanse or this cleanse. Uh, I don't push it at all, and I haven't for decades, and I have some of the healthiest, best patients in the nation. So that's how I feel about it, Ariel. Harvey says, "Hi, Dr. E. What are your thoughts on the recent Harvard study finding half a cup of daily ice cream consumption lowers the risk of heart disease and type 2 diabetes?" Thank you. Um, Harvey, I haven't heard that about the ice cream, a half cup daily, and for how long, but I did hear the Oreo cookie one. There is a man by the name of Nick Norowitz, Norowitz, and he has a YouTube, and he's a MD, PhD from Harvard, and he has a very high cholesterol in the 500s, LDL, I think in the 3 to 500 ranges. He has, I think, some of the ApoE alleles. I don't think he's got all APO4 of them, but he has that, and he has lipoprotein little a. So he's really concerned about his heart health. And his mother's a doctor, his father's a doctor, so he's grown up in academia on the East Coast in Harvard. And so he's involved, Nick Norowitz, YouTube. And if you put in there the Oreo cookie study that he did, he lowered his cholesterol eating Oreo cookies, I think 20 a day for a month or at least 2 weeks. And it did more to lower his cholesterol if that's the goal. That's not his goal, but he just wanted to show and prove the point that in a small, narrow window, because it takes months to physiologically change your metabolism. So he did this joke of a study, on the people that, yeah, you can publish this and get money spent on this to frighten people using foolish things like Oreo cookies to lower your cholesterol. And I think that's the same premise of this half cup of daily ice cream. I would have to see the actual study. Maybe I'll look it up, but I've already seen how it's done on a short-term basis, response on people with high cholesterol. Now, we don't like calling people abnormal if they have high cholesterol. We like cholesterol because it's part of every membrane in your human body. So what we don't like is high triglycerides. And we've been saying this for decades and decades and decades. We've been doing insulin levels for decades and decades and decades. We've been doing highly sensitive C-reactive protein for decades and decades and decades. So all this YouTube stuff is validating what we've been doing here all along. And that's what makes the difference. And you have to eat meat or fish or chicken or pork or egg yolks so that you can get the cholesterol you need for the lining of the membrane of your brain, your skin, everywhere in your body. So we love cholesterol. Marilyn says, "Hello, Dr. E. I installed a whole house air and whole house water purification system when I moved to Texas. I recently got an analemma inlay. I have been using it for my water and my dog's water. My dog always has good labs, but after using the inlay for about 2 months, her labs were better than the last year. Notable to her vet was her renal improvement." Yes, structured water, and you don't have to spend the money on a house inlay like this dear lady Marilyn has done. you can go to Anna Lemma, ANALEMMA water.com. That's their website. That's the valid scientific real study. Dr. Gerald Polak and his YouTube, electrically structured water, Dr. Gerald, Gerald Polak, Pollack. Watch that video, get an Anna Lemma wand. This is what it looks like, folks. And put it in your water. Have your water in glasses, not in plastic. And learn to drink structured water. Well, thank you, Marilyn, for that good news. Wonderful news. Donna said, pneumonia vaccine. What is your thought on pneumonia vaccines? I have none because I don't believe in them. It's been around for years. Well, they didn't do much help, did they, the past 5 or 6 years? My healthy 64-year-old husband just had pneumonia, and it knocked him for a loop. So we're wondering if we should get this vaccine. My mother used to swear by it. Well, the mafia in Chicago, Al Capone, ran a good business up front, and he raped for money protection my grandfather, who had a barbershop on a Chicago street. And so the mafia does some useful things, but it's a controlled system of terror, and you have to have blind allegiance, and whatever they do right or whatever they do wrong. The same can happen to any business, pharmaceuticals, the medical, and the training. And if you look at the corruption of the companies that are involved in producing these injections, so-called vaccines, and you look critically for real controlled studies, how about someone like me, going to be 73, I'm around sick people all the time for decades. I say, take a deep breath, blow out, and then the other side, take a deep breath and blow out. And then I walk around to the other side, and I tell them to do it, and I walk right through their air expelled area, and I don't get sick. I did take a day off, I think about the first week of February. My son forced me to do it. He said, Mom, you're getting old. You better take a little better care of yourself. I could have come to work. Maybe it was allergies. I have allergies. But no, the study and the science behind this has been doctored, you might say, and it has no true control. And the companies are indemnified so that if you are harmed by it, you can't sue them. So there's no incentive for them to produce vaccines that have high quality, because you can't sue them anyway. 1986, the National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act, I'll say that again, 1986 National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act was signed by President Ronald Reagan because these companies were being sued for injuries they were getting up until 1986. And they said, we're not going to produce vaccines if you don't protect us. That protection racket like Al Capone. And so they put in the provision, you have to produce every 2 years your safety studies and show every 2 years that your vaccination production is held to high quality standards. Guess how many they've done since 1986? Zero. So you're going to trust these companies when they are found to know that they cause injury and death and of other medications? I can think of Vioxx, Vioxx. I don't know which company was doing it. I think it started with an M, Merck, or I'm not sure the name, but they paid off billions for knowingly knowing that Vioxx was associated with cardiovascular risk and death, and tens of thousands died on it. And so they just paid a few $1 billion. They're not motivated. They make so much money. For heaven's sakes, that poor soul who was murdered last year from United Health, the CEO of United Healthcare Systems. He was shot in the back in New York. My understanding is his annual salary, his income every year was $39 million. $39 million. And you don't think this is a racket, people? I work way, way too hard. I don't even get a paycheck here sometimes. I work so hard and we barely meet things because I don't put money first here. I put quality and science and research first. So it's a racket. You think I'm going to recommend anything from that group of medicine providers? No way. No way. They don't even follow the law. All right. And then Jennifer says, is there a book or a website that you can recommend to learn more about blood type and diet? Thank you. Blood type and diet. Diadamo wrote Eat Right for Your Blood Type. And the only thing he got right, in my humble opinion, about that book was that he knows your blood type matters as to uh, uh, your health. It doesn't necessarily mean that what he's recommending to avoid or to eat is correct, because we all need protein. If you're a blood type A in his book, he'll say, oh, well, you should eat vegetables, be more like a vegetarian because you can't digest protein and fat very well. Well, that's not good advice. You need the protein and fat. So, no, I don't think there's a good book. And, Donna, I am too busy. I just don't have time to write a book. Jennifer, sorry. Yeah. So I would just say find a good doctor, functional doctor, integrative medicine, who understands that digestion diminishes with age. And so we all need a betaine hydrochloric acid, broad spectrum digestive fat and carbohydrate and protein enzymes to take. And that with food after the age of 65, probably for sure. But A's needed earlier in life. And Emily says, do low phosphorus levels pertain to low bone density osteoporosis? Not necessarily. And there's a 3.0 is a normal level. So 2.5 to 4.5 for an adult is the range in general. So the answer is no, I don't think that's something to be concerned about. Emily says, what would be the advantage of vaginal bias cream? Here again, here's that bias where you take estradiol and mix it either with estriol, that's more typical, or estradiol and mix it with estrone. Overusing estradiol transdermally and estrone vaginally if labs indicate the body is absorbing both well. There is no need for these exotic mixtures and the cost. Just use estradiol. Emily also said, have you found bioidentical hormone replacement therapy sufficient to hold bone density gains after finishing a 1-year course of a bone drug? Well, I never prescribe a bone drug, and I have so many 80, 90, and year-old patients, including myself. Our bone densities are great, but you have to do the whole thing. It isn't just the hormones. It isn't just the vitamin D. It isn't just the weight-bearing exercises. It isn't just stopping eating late. It's everything all together. And let's see, I think I've answered all the questions. We have 2 minutes left. So I think I'll give myself a break and be on time and head on home. So I will be here. If you like this, please like and subscribe, share with your friends, family. And if you want a question, go to tlcdoctors.com and get on our newsletter. And you can send in your questions, and we'll spend an hour together every week. And hopefully I can tell you what my 45 years of practice has done with all this time involved with functional medicine. So with that, God bless everyone. Good night.